Hi, hello, my name is Sydney and today I'm going to be giving you guys a collective book haul. So my only justification for this insane amount of books I've collected over the past, I would say, month or so is because it's the new year. I think that New Year's calls for new books, and you know what? Here we are. So let's just get into all the new books that I've bought recently. First up, we have Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Meyer, and I'm so excited to read this. I'm actually a part of a book club on Fable, and this is going to be the book club's book for the month of January. So I've had this on my TBR for about a month and I've heard so many good things about it. So I'm so excited to finally get to this book. On the back, I just kind of want to read this little blurb for you guys. Assistant wanted, notorious high-ranking villain seeks loyal, level-headed assistant for unspecified office duties, supporting staff for random mayhem and terror and other dark things in general. Discretion a must. Excellent benefits. I just think this book is going to be funny. I feel like it's going to be enjoyable, and I'm so excited to get to it. I believe there's a little bit of romance. I could be totally wrong. I like to go into most of my books blind, so I'm not I like to avoid spoilers. I like to just be like, okay, I know the genre, and that's it. So this is pretty much all I know, that obviously the main character is going to be the assistant to the villain. I think, again, there's a little bit of romance probably between them. Not too sure, but I'm really excited to get to this book in January. Next up, I have Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas, and I'm starting to get into the Throne of Glass series. I actually started the audiobook and then realized that I wanted to read it as a physical copy, so I ran to Target after work and I grabbed the physical copy, came home, and realized I already had the Assassin's Blade on my shelf, and I'm pretty sure it's too late to return this, so I just have 2 copies of the Assassin's Blade, which I'm absolutely not complaining about. But I'm not gonna lie, I kind of soft DNF this. I'm a little bit scared of the Throne of Glass series just because it's so intimidating, and I feel like there's so much going on in the Throne of Glass world, and I really want to get into it. I just started listening to the audiobook and I read a couple of chapters physically in the book, and it wasn't really catching my attention. Definitely could have been just because I was multitasking when I was listening to the audiobook. But if you guys like this series, I need you guys to convince me to read it. So please convince me, because I absolutely loved ACOTAR and I love Sarah J. Maas's writing. So I just need a little bit of convincing to get to the Throne of Glass series. The next 3 books are all from Laurie Gilmore, and we have the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, and the Christmas Tree Farm. So I actually already read the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and I was in the middle of reading I was in the middle of the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, and I actually soft DNF'd this. I really enjoyed this one. It was a very fall vibes romance, and it was definitely a little bit more of a spicy romance, but it was still cute. It definitely isn't anything crazy or out of this world. It was just a cute little vibe romance for the fall. And I started the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore as an audiobook, and I just could not get into it. There was a lot of spice, and it kind of just was turning me off to this book. So I soft DNF'd this. I'll probably go back to it next fall season, and we'll see how I enjoy this. But I also got the Christmas Tree Farms, and this also says it's a small town, spicy, festive romance. So I might have to read this one, because I don't know about anybody else, but when I am listening to spice via audiobook, it makes me feel a little bit uncomfy. So I want to read this. Obviously, Christmas is over. It's still January. I feel like it's winter vibe time, but I think I also might save this one for next year. Next up, this one is also very daunting and very scary, but I have Haunting Adeline. I got this at Target as well, and she's a thick one, but this is the first dark romance that I have ever owned, and I have not read a dark romance ever, so I'm a little bit scared. I don't know if this is the right choice to start out with for dipping my feet in the water of dark romance. If you guys have any maybe less scary dark romances to start off with, then please let me know. I would love some recommendations, but I've just seen a lot of mixed opinions on this book, and I don't know what compelled me to pick this up, but one day while I was at Target in the book section just browsing, I decided, you know what, let's just pick it up. But it has like the manipulator and the shadow. I can manipulate the emotions of anyone who lets me. Scary. And then the shadow, I didn't mean to fall in love, but now that I have, I can't stay away. I'm like scared. I'm nervous. I've never read dark romance, and I honestly don't know too much about this book. I just know that everybody has a lot of mixed opinions on it. So I want to definitely dip my toes in the water in 2025 of dark romance. I just don't know how this is gonna go. Next up, we have a special edition of If We Were Villains, and this book I found at Barnes & Noble. I have honestly had this on my radar for quite some time, since I really started reading a couple of years ago, and I don't know why I never picked it up. I just kind of saw it starting to resurface on BookTube and Book Talk, so I thought, why not pick it up? It's probably like the perfect time, and I saw this special edition cover and I absolutely fell in love with it, so I thought, you know, why not pick it up? So again, I like to go into my books blind, don't know too much about it, but I am excited to get to this book. Next up, I have my first Frederick Bachman book, and this is Anxious People, and I feel like I'm really gonna relate to this book because I am said anxious people. So we will see, but I've heard a lot of people recently raving about Frederick Bachman's writing, and this was the last one at my Barnes, so I thought it was a sign that I needed to pick it up. So I'm hoping to read this soon, and I can see that it has a non-removable sticker, which really gets on my nerves, but it's fine. It says it's a Netflix series, and I love reading books before going into the Netflix series. So I'm gonna read this and then watch the show because I think I've seen some people talk about it and say that it's good. So let's hope I like the book, and then we'll see how I like the show. But I'm really excited to get into Frederick Bachman's writing. Then I picked up Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and again, I honestly couldn't tell you too much about this book. Well, I honestly couldn't tell you anything about this book, if I'm being completely honest, but it says the mesmerizing adult debut from Leigh Bardugo, a tale of power, privilege, dark magic, and murder among the Ivy League elite. Okay, that sounds super interesting. I think it might be a dark academia book, so I think we will see. I'm really excited. One of the booktubers I watch likes Leigh Bardugo, and so I thought, why not give her a chance? I don't know. I also really like this cover, so hopefully I like Leigh Bardugo as much as a lot of other people do. Next up, this book, this trilogy is actually very near and dear to my heart. I absolutely love the Caraval trilogy, and Stephanie Garber blessed us this Christmas with a holiday novella set in Caraval. This book is spectacular, and oh my gosh, guys, I actually already read this book, and I can't tell you how much I loved it. This is exactly what I needed. If you guys haven't read Caraval or the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogies, you absolutely need to read them. I fell in love with Caraval earlier this year. I read those books so fast. I don't think I've ever ran to the bookstore to pick up the next book in a trilogy faster than I did for this trilogy. And then just having this little Christmas novella come out, oh my god, so good. You need to pick it up. Also, the illustrations in this book, let me show you. This one is like, guys, you're kidding! Absolutely beautiful, and those little illustrations are scattered throughout the whole book, so you kind of get to be able to see the scenes come out and come to life, which I absolutely loved. And this is a Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, and I cannot tell you guys, if you love the world of Caraval, you need to read this book. Next up, I have Half a Soul, and I love this cover so much, but I honestly don't know too much about it. I've seen a couple of people talk about it, so I thought, why not pick it up? But it's difficult to find a husband in Regency England when you're a young lady with only half a soul. When I read that, I was like, okay, so like something is up. The only thing that I really know is I'm pretty sure this girl's soul literally gets cut in half, hence half a soul. So we will see if I like this, but I'm super excited to get into this book. Another cute little special edition that was actually buy one, get one 50% off, which is absolutely crazy. I gasped when I saw this, but this is Throne of the Fallen, and look at these beautiful sprayed edges. They're just purple. I absolutely love it. I knew I needed it on my shelf. When it was 50% off and it was the last one sitting there, I was like, I am snatching it. I don't even care. And Miss Sarah Caroli herself has a quote, refreshing, enchanting, and captivating from the very start. If Sarah recommends it, if Sarah's quoting it, I am reading it. So here we are. Next up, we have Belladonna and Foxglove. And Belladonna, I actually got this one from Target, and I've heard a lot of people talking about this trilogy recently, so I'm super excited to get into it. And then when I was at Barnes, I also saw that Foxglove was buy one, get one 50% off. So again, Barnes & Noble exclusive, sprayed edges, absolutely beautiful. I needed it on my shelf. If you have a book in front of me at Barnes & Noble and it's buy one, get one 50% off, you bet that I am going to find another book to get buy one, get one 50% off, because how could I not? The logic is logicking. So here we are. Next, I have another fantasy from Blood and Ash, and honestly, I couldn't really tell you anything about this book. I just picked it up. It says it's captivating and action-packed. From Blood and Ash is a sexy, addictive, and unexpected fantasy perfect for fans of Sarah J. Maas and Laura. I don't know how to say that, so I'm not going to say it, but the Sarah J. Maas, I absolutely loved ACOTAR, so I also loved Sarah J. Maas's writing. So I thought, why not go ahead and pick this up yet again. Another fantasy. This is Quicksilver, and I've heard some people talking about this. I believe I saw Destiny Sidwell read this, and the back says, do not touch the sword, do not turn the key, do not open the gate. So honestly, you kind of got me with that. I want to know, why can't I touch the sword? Why can't I turn the key? And why can't I open the gate? I am going to find out. She is a little bit chunky, but I really, really want to read this, and we're going to read it, okay? We're going to read it. I promise you, all of these books will eventually get read. I actually picked this book up a long time ago. Did that make any sense? No. But this is the pairing, and honestly, the only reason I picked this book up was because I really like the sprayed edges. It says some things taste better together, which obviously that has to correlate to something that's going on in the book. But if a book has cute sprayed edges and a cute cover, I am so sorry, but I'm gonna spend my money on it. I have to. I think this is about it literally says childhood best friends, crushes, lovers, and now estranged exes. So I think these exes end up traveling together for some reason. Honestly, again, not too sure. I like to go into my books blind, but sprayed edges, the cover, it got me. So here we are. Next up, the lady at Barnes & Noble, when she was checking me out, said that she really liked this book. So I'm super excited, but this is by V.E. Schwab's. This is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and I have been having my eye on this book ever since I started reading a couple of years ago. It was very prominent on Book Talk a while ago, and I feel like it's starting to resurface again, and I am honestly really intrigued by this. The only thing that I know about this book is that our main character, Addie LaRue, ends up making a deal with somebody, and she is pretty much going to be able to live forever, but no one remembers her, and that is a little bit scary. So we will see how this ends up, and I really want to read this soon, so maybe in January I will put this on my TBR, but I'm super excited to read this. This next book is a little bit scary, and I'm scared, and I feel like everybody is going to be scared for me if you have read this book, but I have A Little Life. And I have heard so many things about this book. People honestly don't really recommend it because how sad and I guess disturbing it is, and honestly I never thought I would pick it up because I don't really cry in books, and books don't really make me too sad. I don't know if that's a just me thing, but I thought I want to see for myself. I want to read it. I want to see, is this going to be the first book to make me cry? Am I going to feel emotional while reading this? Am I going to have to sit in my room covered in blankets and stare at the wall for 5 hours? Who knows? But I'm honestly excited to read it. I don't know if I should be excited. I just want to, evoke some emotion from myself. So we'll see. But everybody, you know what? Keep me in your thoughts while I read this book. Next up, we have Kristen Hanna's Firefly Lane. I've actually already seen the Netflix series of this, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And I feel like usually I like to read the books first before watching the series or the adaptation of them. But unfortunately, I didn't do that. And then all of a sudden, after the series came out, I started to see a bunch of people talking about Kristen Hanna and how amazing her writing is. So here we are with Firefly Lane, and I'm kind of excited to go into it because now knowing what the characters look like in the show, I'm going to be able to kind of picture those characters while reading the book. So I'm excited about that, but I absolutely loved the story when I watched the show, so I know I'm going to love this story, and I'm so excited to read this. Last but not least, we have two beloved books from the series that everybody loves on TikTok, and this is the Taming, Keeping, whatever, Chloe Walsh. I have Keeping 13 and Saving 6. I actually already have Binding 13, and I'm in the middle of reading Keeping 13 right now. And guys, I can't tell you how amazing this series is. I didn't think it would be for me, but oh my gosh, if you guys are hesitant on reading this series, I am begging you on my hands and knees, you need to go pick up this series and read it right now. I fell in love with it from literally, I swear, the first page. It was so good, and now getting deeper and deeper into the story, I absolutely love it. I want to cry thinking about it. After I'm done with this video, I'm going to go finish the book. But I also got Saving 6 because right after I finish this, I know I'm going to want to jump into this. So I'm reading it on my Kindle right now, but I obviously needed to have the physical book on my bookshelf. Those were all of the books that I have bought this New Year season. And if you guys have read any of them, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. If you guys are excited to see more videos from me, then please stay tuned for those, and happy reading.